Hello and welcome to Game Changer. I'm Mariam Zia. Pakistan's Operation Bunyanum-Marsoos was a complete success and a true game changer that led to the ceasefire between Pakistan and India. But when we look at the recent speech made by Mr. Narendra Modi on 12th May, it stated that India had only paused its military operations and warned that any future terrorist attack would be met with a strong response on India's terms. The Foreign Office has, of course, categorically rejected provocative and inflammatory assertions made by Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi in his address yesterday. According to a statement issued by Foreign Office today, Modi's remarks represented a dangerous escalation that is rooted in misinformation, political opportunism and blatant disregard for international law. The Foreign Office said that Pakistan remained committed to the recent ceasefire understanding and taking necessary steps towards de-escalation and regional stability. When we look at Pakistan during this duration of April 22nd to May 10th, of course, Pakistan achieved significant not only military success, but of course diplomatic success as well. In today's program, we will be talking about the diplomatic success of Pakistan and also we are hearing voices from within India that are raising questions on Modi's government regarding this Operation Sindoor and how it of course led to Kashmir issue being on the center stage when we talk about South Asia, and now global superpowers are talking about Kashmir issue. In today's program, we'll be talking about that as well. As the smoke has cleared now, we will be discussing the real question that remains, that is Kashmir issue going to be actually resolved and what it takes for both the countries and the international community when we talk about this key issue within this region and within the arch rivals who both are the nuclear states. To discuss this and more, we are joined in the studios by legal expert Barrister Safiullah Ghori. Welcome to the program. Joined online by defense analyst AVM Ijaz Malik. Welcome to the program. And we are also joined online by a former ambassador Dr. Jamil Khan. Welcome to the program. Mr. Safi, let me start with, of course, this speech that was made by Narendra Modi on 12th May. When we look at the statement, did you came across?
Yes, I had the unfortunate.
You did. And what's your understanding of the tone he took? Because it was such a humiliating admission of defeat, and it seemed like he was a cornered animal. But at the same time, the language he was using was still against Pakistan. And he said that he actually attacked the terrorist heavens in Pakistan. So what's your key takeaways or first impression of the speech?
Let's forget my impression, Mariam. I think the question that we should be asking is, what is the takeaway of the Indians who were watching his speech? They are the ones, they were the audience after all. I was not the audience. And they should be very confused, if anything, because only 12 hours before that speech, Narendra Modi had put up a speech saying he will never agree to any peace and never talk to Pakistan. Only 12 hours. And there are a lot of Indian channels who are making fun of his absolute U-turn and the fact that, you know, he puts up a tweet saying that there is going to be no talks, and then suddenly he's like, okay, we are going to talk, but we are only going to talk on terrorism, we are only going to talk on Pakistan occupied Kashmir. That is the first thing. And the second thing, one of the funniest things that I found in his speech was his statement that Pakistan sent 1,000 drones and they were shot down by the S-400. Okay, fine. Maybe he's trying to show that, you know, the S-400 is very powerful and our drones are useless. But the Indian public should really be asking how they're using the S-400, because one S-400 missile costs $1 million. our drones, which are an approximate cost of 75,000 rupees, are being shot down by missiles of $1 million. That means Narendra Modi is admitting before the nation that he has wasted $1 billion of Indian taxpayer money on shooting down basically what they themselves called. They're the ones who said they were cheap drones, not my words. So the fact that India is wasting money like this.
Let's keep the comical aspect of this
No,
aside.
what
were the strategic considerations of Narendra Modi when he opted for the ceasefire? Because like you earlier said that, of course, he took a U-turn.
Yeah, I think that's a very good question. There are very many theories on this. I have come across, of course, a lot of different ideas that they had to do this. I believe that they were targeted. Pakistan, of course, targeted several key command centers. We know for a fact that apart from that, there was also hacking attempts by Pakistan, helped by China. The Indian satellites were hacked, Indian command centers were hacked. I think India was losing control of their entire nerve center. Pakistan had gotten to the very core of where India conducts its terrorist operations from, and they really did not have an option. Going back, of course, just like they did when the Uri Cap incident took place, going back like the way Pulwama took place, Narendra Modi, in my opinion, is now just going to go back, try and redraw the board before he tries to come back again. But I'm going to say something, with the help of your show. I have another theory on why India conducted this attack at this exact point of time to begin with. This is a diplomatic issue. So the only major diplomatic move that Pakistan was going to make right before this attack was our foreign minister Ishaq Dar was going to go to Bangladesh, and there was going to be some rapprochement between Pakistan and Bangladesh. We know that the new government of Bangladesh is very pro-Pakistan, very anti-India, and the idea that the two brothers would get back together on both sides of the Indian border, east and west, was something that irked India so much that India decided to not wait for anything, not wait for any evidence, not wait for anything at all, and just attack Pakistan so as to divert Pakistan. And the only major diplomatic fallout that Pakistan has had is that our visit to Bangladesh was cancelled. But of course, the diplomatic successes that Pakistan has experienced in terms of the support that was shown by China and Turkey and the Bangladesh people, the people of Bangladesh, Azerbaijan, Sri Lanka, Maldives, all of global south is phenomenal.
India wasn't expecting that much support, and also when we talk about timing, since you mentioned about that, we cannot forget that of course US Vice President J.D. Vance also visited India the same time around, so maybe he was expecting the kind of support that US has provided previously to Israel. What's your take on that?
Yes, and once again, a beautiful question. So once again, I don't need to say anything. Indian anchors have been saying everything. So Arnab Goswami, in one of his shows, said, "Where is the promised 13th fleet of the US Navy?" Maybe J.D. Vance went. I don't know, of course, that if USA promised them or anything. I probably think it's nonsense that India has created itself. But the fact that J.D. Vance went, and then after a little while, J.D. Vance also put up a tweet saying that this is between Pakistan and India, USA has no role, means that to a certain degree, USA had said, all right, we give you the permission to conduct any operations that you want, do what you wish, and we are not going to interfere. And the reason why the USA felt the need to interfere is because suddenly, the Chinese arms were on full display. Yes. The JC-10s,
and
the PL-15s.
Were going to be, of course, going to be out of
Mariam, what was happening was for the first time, the world only knows US arms industry. F-16s, this is what the world has heard of, F-22 Raptors and the kind of US Abraham tanks. For the first time in a battlefield, in a country, Pakistan is the only country in the world that has Chinese arms, US arms and Russian arms. We have a combination of all three, and of course our indigenous arms. And we were choosing to use Chinese arms over all other arms. And for the first time in the world, the world was seeing that amongst the wide array of things that Pakistan could have used, Pakistan was using Chinese goods and they were taking down European goods. That is too much for the military industrial complex that runs the whole global economy. So I think there was an immediate need to come and stop this before this would become an open display for the rest of the world.
And US and the world also recognize the fact that they cannot look away when it comes to two nuclear powers coming face to face. Dr. Jamil, let me come to you. When we look at this speech made by of course, Mr. Narendra Modi, he emphasized that Operation Sindoor was only paused, not ended. Do you think this is a genuine deterrent signal, or a face-saving statement from the Prime Minister of India after forced ceasefire, which was also requested by India in the first place?
It was just to satisfy the people of India, those who became so critical that they started taking out possessions in the India, various cities, and there was a bottom-up pressure on the BJP government, particularly the Prime Minister. And one of the example of that is that the person who announced the ceasefire was a bureaucrat, was a diplomat, and that is the foreign secretary of India. Now the social media and the harassment which has really taken place against that gentleman, even the Congress members have spoken in his favor that what is his fault? He has just read out what was decided by the government. So that is what the mindset is of the BJP government, which draws its power from the RSS, which draws its power from the ideology of Hindutva, right? So that is the mindset which the Prime Minister carries, because the Prime Minister of India is a member of RSS from his age 14. So there is a mindset which has been developed over a period of time, and there is a group of people who believe in aggression if no one listens to them. See what the media and what I'm going to describe to you, it is mentioned already in the Religious Freedom Commission report of United States. And they indicate that the minorities are marginalized. And they have also indicated that how the ideology is imposed, how RSS members, they go to various segments of the society and various members of the bureaucratic authority, and they try and pressurize them to seek the decision of their own kind, and even in the policy making. And they have specifically, the commission report specifically has cited the CAA, which is the Citizenship Amendment Act. And those are the examples which indicates that even the judiciary remained under the pressure of two kinds. One, that BJP government, which, as I said, works on the ideology of RSS, and two, that they even
Right, right. We'll be coming back to you, Dr. Jamil, but we'll take a short break here. Welcome back. Dr. Jamil, like we were discussing earlier about Modi's speech, he also alluded to the mention of Bahawalpur and Muridke as universities of global terrorism, and which he used to justify cross-border strikes. Is this part of a larger effort to delegitimize Pakistan's security posture internationally?
philosophy behind it as to why that rhetoric of the terrorism and the terrorist infrastructure, they've been propelling this idea and propagating this idea throughout the world at each world forum, whether it's a United Nations forum or any other international forum. They've been always doing that. And I would also underscore one point that every time there's a high-power delegation visiting India, they would like that something is included in the joint statement. First of all, they would always try and state some kind of a false flag, that like Uri in 2016 and 2018, another incident, and the six Chhattispura and so on. So they try and create some kind of incident, and then they try and have that included in the joint statement of high power visits, particularly from the United States. And what is the philosophy behind it? They normally they are trying to distract the attention of the world power and the world, the entire world, that there are 15 Security Council resolutions on the Kashmir issue, starting from Security Council resolution 47, which was passed in 48, and that is an incumbent that is declaration, that's regulation, which is the international law, and the parties are required to adhere to that. India never adhered to that. Now, they try and hide behind this rhetoric of terrorism and infrastructure of terrorism. And by doing that, they have been able, I would say partially they've been successful to project Kashmiri's resistance and Kashmiri's self-grown resistance against an occupied forces, which is absolutely in accordance with the United Nations General Assembly Resolution 2649, and there are other resolutions also that gives the right to the people who have been occupied for their self-determination and the struggle for their self-determination. And one of the
Back to
very,
you.
I think, example.
Right, Dr. Jamil, will discuss about Kashmir issue and how this conflict in specific put Kashmir back to the center stage. But let me include AVM Ijaz Malik into the discussion. AVM Sahab, Modi warned of retaliation against nuclear blackmail. First, what's your take on Modi's speech yesterday? And also, do you think such reckless nuclear references they reflect desperation of Modi for relevance, or these are some kind of strategic signaling, in your opinion?
Yes, you are right. In this particular case, to start with, the entire episode, which started from a false flag operation in Pahalgam, India was trying to challenge our strength or deterrence in the conventional domain, which is always fraught with chances of escalation towards the nuclear run. But Pakistan exercised restraint, and Pakistan, gave them an opportunity to exit, but they pressed on. So obviously, we had no choice but to give them a befitting response through application of primarily our air power and, of course, our defense on the sea as well as across LOC and national borders. And now this rhetoric of use of nuclear, it just shows the unstable mind of Indian Prime Minister, I would say. How can you think of giving such threatening statement in the heat of such an activity, with the flashpoint of Kashmir bleeding at this time under subjugation and occupation forces? And he's trying to put at risk around 3 billion people in and around subcontinent. I think it's insane, and that is what has brought the flashpoint and issue of Kashmir on central stage and in onward focus, because previously the world was somehow giving priority to the other conflicts like Ukraine or Middle East crisis, and India thought that Kashmir is not a priority for anyone, and they have a diplomatic, conducive environment wherein they can, take advantage. And also, one of their basic assumptions which went wrong was about the, resilience of Pakistani as a nation, which they always thought is right now undergoing a political polarization within and struggling on their economic front. So probably all these factors misled Indian government and the RSS mindset which prevails in New Delhi predominantly to launch this campaign against Pakistan, and Pakistan responded very well.
Right.
I think now
Right, Mr. Ijaz, there was a lot of miscalculations at the part of Modi's government. But when we look at the speech, he claimed that Pakistan's strikes failed due to India's strong air defense. What's your take on that? Because he failed to provide any proofs whatsoever. So how is this going to be affecting India's credibility in the global stage, also in the wake of talks that are being pushed by President Trump's recent statement as well? So how do you see this in the larger state of things?
Mariam, you see, it is ridiculous, I think, on their part. Probably somebody, professional is not ready to, put some sanity into their speech or what stance they should take. You see, in any war, India always activates its frontline air bases, starting from the complex in the north, like Adampur, Pathankot, Halwada, down to in the south, Nalia Bhoj, and Jamnagar. And this time, India just retrieved all their assets after 7th of May to their main bases or rear bases. So that means the level of confidence they had on the air defense and the fear of massive attack by Pakistan Air Force, which ultimately we did. And we had the ranges deep inside India as far as the detection capability is concerned, as far as the full electromagnetic spectrum visibility and support is concerned, and not to mention, of course, the long ranges of our weapons which could engage Indian air defenses or any resistance from longer ranges, like in the tune of 250 to 300 kilometers. And we destroyed those 26 targets, which were all military targets, with precision, with degree of assurance, and without causing any collateral damage on ground to civilian population. So I must salute our higher command and military leadership, particularly the Air Force, who had a very nice, very sophisticated targeting philosophy, in which we chose only those targets which were essentially required to neutralize their defenses and their offensive capability. Like we struck on their airfields, which could become a factor in case of a prolonged war. We destroyed their very expensive system like S-400, and we have proof for that. But Mr. Modi was talking.
Of course, and like in the presser of DG-ISPR, they also said that Pakistan still have some cards up their sleeves. But touching a little upon Operation Bunyanum-Marsoos, what's your take on this, that how this changed perception of Pakistan internationally from a reactive state to a capable sovereign actor?
Great question, Mariam. So let's look at what's been happening, right? If we just look at the previous past, this was the final nail in the coffin. But if you were to look at the way Pakistan is always prepared, so let's look at, for instance, the Pulwama case. Yes. India sent in its MiGs and was fully prepared because it outnumbered Pakistan Air Force 10-1, and also not 10-1, but let's say 6-1, and also the on-ground troops were there. They had no idea that Pakistan had AWACS, ARI, and ZK-03 technology. This was used to jam their planes. One of their planes crashed. We got their prisoner, humiliated them all over the world. Something the whole world did not know about. We had kept that a secret, and boom, India was flabbergasted, humiliated, went back home, bloody nosed. Come to 2025, we see this Pahalgam false flag attack. Once again India comes in. Once again Pakistan with J-10Cs, domestic variant of the Chinese PL-15 missiles, took down their Rafale, a $25 million plane took down a $280 million plane, and for the whole world to see. This was a spectacle, right? And all that the world is seeing is that Pakistan thinks one step ahead. Pakistan knows that they have Rafales. They have placed an order of $7 billion, the highest order for planes that had ever been placed. And what is Pakistan taking them down with? $200 million total. a fleet of $7 billion
But
rendered
it's not
completely.
the equipment or the machine that matters, it's the faith, it's the training, it's the will that matters.
Of course, in this particular case, of course, it's the training, the will. But to be honest, let's be fair, and in all honesty, we have to understand how this warfare worked. The pilots who shot the plane did not see the plane in India, nor did the Indian Rafales who got destroyed ever see the Pakistani plane. They never actually saw each other. These were long range, 300 kilometers. This was all about good coordinates, and this was all about good kill chains, using SABs and using satellite imagery to send in the right coordinates that would then help us. And of course, China was helping us through all of this. So we knew the correct information, we knew where to hit, and the pilots, of course, are very brave. Now the taking down of the S-400 is a very different operation, and that operation, of course, our planes did go deeper into the enemy territory, and they did, of course, do a very, very brave act.
Right,
which
but
we can talk
moving
about.
away from the technical details, let's talk about the other part of my
Yes,
question, was
so
about how
absolutely.
it changed the
impact.
perception.
Yes, so the perception now is that everybody wants to buy Chinese
Because
weaponry.
we showed a lot of
No,
restraint.
I'm getting to that. So everybody wants to buy Chinese weaponry. Saudi Arabia already has started placing orders with China, and they want Pakistanis to train them. That is the difference. Now people understand that it is the Pakistanis who know how to use these weaponries. It's not just about the weapons. It's also, and by the way, Indian General Bhakti said this. Indian General Bhakti said that it was Chinese weaponry, but had it been China, they would not have been able to use it like this. It is Pakistan who knows how to use this. So of course it's the man behind the gun. It matters, and the way we have projected our strength has now led to our army functioning as a regional security guarantor. Because what had happened, Mariam, in the last couple of years is that India had become a bully not just for Pakistan but for everyone around the region.
All the neighboring countries.
All the
in
neighboring
region,
countries, right? Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Maldives, Nepal, Bhutan, Burma. All of these countries see Pakistan as the only alternative to India, the only one who can stand up to this bully. And Pakistan did so.
Right.
Pakistan stood up to the bully, and Pakistan has given all other players in the region a chance to grow up, to understand that the bully, no matter how scary he might look because of his size, is actually just a coward. And at the first blow, he would run away.
Right, and
So
of course, let me take the same question to Dr. Jamil. Dr. Jamil, of course, we know that India was the first who went for, to ask for mediation and ceasefire post operation and in the midst of Operation Bunyan-um-Marsoos. But how do you look at the role of international players like US, Saudi Arabia, China, who facilitated the ceasefire? And how significant is the multipolar mediation for Pakistan's diplomacy in your opinion? And how do you think it has shifted from traditional diplomacy?
No, traditional diplomacy would always remain there, because traditional diplomacy is the diplomacy through which you reach out the host government through a formal manner. But then, yes, public diplomacy this time was so strong that the entire world got to know about it. And through the traditional diplomacy, we were able to approach multiple countries, and then therefore all the multilateral players, they came in. And they tried to not only mediate, but they were all pressing upon to de-escalate. And there were a reason for it. Donald Trump, who really basically did the entire pressure, in fact, who was really approached through Marco Rubio, and that has been reported while the war was still going on the 11th. That was reported on the 10th. That was reported by Nick Robertson, the CNN reporter from India. And there he said that, look, what damages has been caused by the strikes from the Pakistani side, and Pakistani missiles and Pakistani aircraft. So, and while he was reporting, then towards the end of it, he reported in his second phase of reporting and third, he said that the India has approached United States, Marco Rubio and J.D. Vance to that it is ready for the ceasefire. And that has further been confirmed today in the morning once our Deputy Prime Minister, Foreign Minister, he was giving his interview to Nick Robertson, who happens to be in Pakistan physically. From India, he came to Pakistan, and our foreign minister, deputy prime minister, he mentioned that he was approached by Marco Rubio, and he was told that India has initiated this request of ceasefire. And the response from our foreign minister was that we agree with it. We never wanted to go into the war, but that was imposed upon us. And that was once our honor and dignity was hurt. And that too by the violation of the international law, that the Indians, they transgressed the sovereignty of the country and the integrity of the country. Then in that case, the country had the right, Pakistan had the right under Article 51 and Article 2, Sub-Article 4, to really respond back. I'm just quoting the article. Our foreign minister he described it in a very simple term to Nick Robertson, CNN the correspondent. These 2 points, it's a testimony that the request came in from Indian side. Although we, from the very beginning, we had told that Pakistan never want to be an aggressive country. Pakistan is a member of the United States. Pakistan never want to just go for any kind of a war. But if it is imposed upon us, we'll respond, and we'll respond very aggressively and very lethally. And we did that because that was required and that was allowed under the international law. So that is one thing proven. The concluding line of this part of the question is that yes, the request came in, and Pakistan had no objection to it because Pakistan did not initiate. It was India which initiated, and the India made a false excuse, as it has been doing. And I was describing it in the previous segment that India whole idea is India has always been pressing upon that it's a bilateral issue. With this very initiative of the United States, and the way the United States the foreign minister, the Secretary of State was approached by Indians and the Vice President, it appears that now they cannot claim that Kashmir issue is a bilateral issue. They have already involved a third party. So now Pakistan can always move a resolution in the Security Council. And this time long, I don't think the United States would find it easy to veto it, because in all previous and past occasions, the United States used to veto it once it came to the interest of the Indians. Now, this time it is mediator, and no one less than the most powerful president of the world, of the most powerful country in terms of military might, has already mentioned that he is now going to mediate, and he'll be very happy to mediate the issue of the Kashmir. And why did he say so? He described it in his yesterday's statement, in which he said that two countries
Right, right. Of course, Mr. Trump mentioned about Kashmir issue again when in Saudi Arabia. Thank you very much, Dr. Jamil Khan, for joining us in today's discussion. AVM Ijaz Saab, let me come to you. When we talk about Foreign Office statement, it welcomed Trump's statement regarding Kashmir, but we didn't witness any such statement coming from Indian side. What's your take on this? And also, how effective is this diplomatic acknowledgement of putting pressure on India to re-engage on the issue of Kashmir, because India was trying to internalize Kashmir post 2019.
Yes, indeed. India was the one who took this Kashmir issue in 1948 to United Nations Security Council. You know, it was them, it was not us. And then they lingered on, gained time, and then time came in 1972 when India, after Simla Accord, they said that it's a bilateral issue. So they never accepted any mediation on this issue. And then finally, in August 2019, they enacted once again to by repelling the Article 370 and 35A. So from international to bilateral, it became an internal issue for them. But in this particular, conflict or lingering issue, which is in the flashpoint in Southeast Asia, India cannot decide everything. These are the three parties: Pakistan, India, and people of Kashmir, who would decide the fate of what should happen and what would happen, inshallah. So now your question that what would be the fate of these offered mediation? In my opinion, Pakistan, of course, is always been asking for composite dialogue on all issues, including Kashmir. So there is no problem as far as Pakistan is concerned. The only good thing is that now Pakistan can talk from a position of strength. It is India who is likely, if their history is any reference, to manipulate because why they agreed on mediation or ceasefire, because they wanted an immediate exit, which was provided to them by some friendly countries, and of course America being in the lead. Now the future is held by the sincerity of American leadership, whether they intervene just to provide a temporary relief to India. If that was the case, then probably we will be back to square one. But if Mr. Trump, who is eyeing on Nobel Peace Prize,
Even hearing that, yeah.
so if that
Question. Of course, that remains a key question, and let me take the same question to you. Saifi, what's your take on this? That post August 2019, when Modi's government revoked Kashmir's limited autonomy, and now this conflict has brought it back to the stage. At the same time, when we look within India, there are voices not only from the opposition parties but from the public as well, that they are very much against this third party mediation, because they consider it as part of India. And also when we look at Modi's speech yesterday, he also mentioned about that the only issues that we will be talking to Pakistan with are going to be terrorism, and second is Pakistan occupied Kashmir. So what's your understanding?
It's interesting, right? This once again exposes the Indian illegal designs and illegal behavior. They run away from battlefields, be it the battlefield of a real battle or be it a battlefield of court. And BBC has covered it very well today. In fact, one of the leading articles on BBC is about how India always refuses mediation or arbitration or any legal forum. Now in Kashmir's case, the USA has offered to mediate. India is most likely going to refuse because India is.
But can we expect some out of the box solution that was in Musharraf's era, that kind of blueprint? Can we expect that in the presence of Trump, that is eyeing a Nobel Peace Prize?
I'm not sure that India will do that, and one of the reasons why I don't think India would do that is because the Indian public is crazed. They are not a normal public anymore. The moment Trump announced a ceasefire, if you were to just look at Trump's X, where he's announcing, everything that you see, all the comments below that ceasefire announcement is Indians cursing him, swearing at him, and it's for the whole world to see that Indians are not peace loving. They do not want mediations. If they do that, then the person who allows that mediation, in this case Modi, will lose his vote bank, because the only way Modi survives is by inciting his people for further violence. He became the chief minister of Gujarat, and it is the Gujarat riots that led him to become the prime minister. After becoming the prime minister, it was a series of pogroms that he carried out in Kashmir that has led to him keeping his power. What we need to understand is that this is not a normal population, this is a genocidal population. And for a genocidal nation to be told that there is a legal way that is found out and they were going to have to follow the law, that is a death knell to their ideology. The very existence is based on the idea that laws do not apply to us, that we are superior, that this is the.
But laws still exist, and the whole world has now acknowledged that between India and Pakistan, Kashmir remains a key issue, and it after every few weeks or months there are skirmishes, but it remains a flashpoint. So it needs to be addressed. What legal frameworks are available for Pakistan at this point in time, when everyone is looking towards Pakistan and India, and of course Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir?
Yes, we talk about the United Nations Security Council resolutions. Unfortunately, those resolutions are now more than 50 years old. Nothing has happened on those.
It is one of the oldest agenda on the.
And nothing is happening on those. I am not expecting that anything would happen. This is because the international rule-based order is also seemingly breaking down in front of us with Russia and Ukraine, Israel and Palestine. All these problems seem to suggest that regional powers are now on their own. They are not going to be international actors that will step in. We have seen that the International Court of Justice does not seem to have taken any action. Pakistan, in my opinion, has done all that it could under international law. Even now, leaving aside Kashmir, there is a bigger issue for Pakistan, which is the illegal and unilateral suspension of the Indus Water Treaty.
Yes.
That treaty does not have any suspension clause. This treaty does not allow anything under the treaty itself. There is nothing that can allow India to suspend it, but India has done so against the law. Now, this was a World Bank broker treaty. Pakistan has gone to the World Bank. Is the World Bank holding India responsible?
But at this point in time, they don't have the infrastructure to block
That's
the flow
irrelevant.
of waters.
Even if they don't have the infrastructure, it's about the law. They are breaking a law, right? They are breaking. There is a coded word that says that it cannot be broken. They have broken it. Now, this was a World Bank broker treaty. Is the World Bank stopping the flow of funds to India? Is the World Bank calling for sanctions to India? Normally, Mariam, in this case, what happens is countries sanction. There is a, but India is one of the biggest economies of the world, one of the biggest trading partners of the world. So the world is not stepping up. What I see now, and this is very unfortunate, I am not expecting much from the international community in terms of support and sanctions and trade restrictions, but what I am seeing is that this is going to give Pakistan the impetus it needs to stand up on its feet and make the decisions that it needs to be able to resolve these through kinetic operations or through other diplomatic trade means that Pakistan can then establish. Because what India has done is, India has introduced to the vocabulary of the world a new word, lawfare, right? Using law as a means of warfare, and they have done so very successfully. And it's now our turn to stand up, and that's what we are all getting trained for.
Your last two lines on, of course, DGMOs of both the countries have talked what CBMs should be established between both the countries because they have been shelved since 2019.
Yeah, so I think
Very
immediately right now, if we were to have any confidence building measures right off the cuff, we'll need return of diplomats from places, because diplomats have been, Pakistan has removed 35 diplomats, India has maybe done, I don't know, 40 diplomats from both the high commissions. So so diplomats need to return firstly. Secondly, we need to open up the airspace. Of course, Pakistan is causing India substantial losses by keeping the airspace closed. That's another thing that we need to do immediately. Pakistan is allowing the Sikh yatris to come in, but India has disallowed them from going in. So India needs to allow the Sikhs to continue to come into Pakistan so that they can continue to serve as a means of peace between the nations. And of course,
and the review is necessary of to avoid any miscalculation.
The review is
in
going
future.
to take place on a weekly basis, right? We know that the review was held on the 12th of May, and then another review is due on the 19th. So the reviews will take place,
right.
But a modicum of trade needs to be allowed, and I think that will help the countries get back on track.
Of course, of course. Thank you very much, Mr. Safiullah Ghori, for joining us in today's discussion. Thank you very much, AVM Ijaz Malik, for joining us in today's discussion. That's all from Game Changer tonight. Take care. Allah Hafiz.